Howdy, y'all. This here's Mike. Down at Mike's Golf Shop, where we buy golf. That's right. We buy golf clubs. Mike's Golf Shop. Come on over here. We buy golf clubs. Over at Mike's Golf Shop. Come on down here. We buy golf clubs. That's right. We buy golf clubs. We buy golf clubs. We buy golf clubs. We buy golf clubs. We buy golf clubs.
Now, Mike buys golf clubs. And I've lost my cursor somehow. I mean, it is nowhere to be found. So that's great. Oh, here we go. Hey, came back up. So, if you notice that that video, he's got a whole string of them with Mike's Golf Shop. That video had like 800,000 views. How much money did he spend on that? None. He's holding an iPhone and just doing that. It's got a whole series of them. They've been very popular. He got on television with it. He's on Tosh.0 with it. He's been interviewed. That's a great example of viral marketing. People seek it out or pass it along. I have, and I just showed it to you because it's hilarious. He also sells, it's up in Chattanooga, by the way. You should stop by. I've had several students stop by and send me the video clips of them talking with Mike. Now, online video involves posting digital video content on brand websites or social media sites. That's just definitional. Let's look for an example of that.
Good grammar and spelling are important, but if you want to write essays that inspire.
Julie Bonovich joins us live. And Julie, what happened out there?
Well, Dave and Glenda, they just finished boarding up the window pane and part of the wall here. This is a very busy Arby's. It sits right here in Woodward, in Royal Oak, near 13 Mile Road. So as you can imagine, there are quite a few people inside at the time.
The big window went pop, and there was just glass everywhere. That was the loudest bang I had ever heard. It sounded like an explosion.
I thought perhaps the end of days was upon us, but it turned out it was just a disoriented old lady in a champagne-colored Toyota Avalon, crashing into my world like DMB circa 1996. Who's got their claws in you, my friend? Into your heart I'll beat again.
Just before 2 p.m., an elderly woman drove into the side of the restaurant while trying to park her car.
I turned around. A little old lady had stepped on the gas instead of the brake and ran into the restaurant.
She hit 3 people who were sitting down and eating inside. They were thrown 8 to 10 feet.
I saw their bodies tossed skyward, like ragdolls thrown into the air by the late great Andre the Giant. I don't know. They appeared to be weightless, hitting zero-G like the fearless crew of a forgotten Apollo mission, whose only objective was to obtain a beef and cheddar classic and return home to Kathleen Quinlan safe before sundown. I don't know. Part of me wishes I'd been hit by that car instead, so I could have gotten out of work early and gone far, far away from shift manager Masha's judging emerald eyes. No, I didn't wash my shirt in between shifts, Masha. So what if I smell like roast beef? This whole place smells like roast beef.
The fire department transported all 3 to the hospital and tell us that the man and 2 women who are in their 30s and 40s appear to have non-life-threatening injuries. As for the woman driving the car,
a look of elderly bloodlust spread across her wrinkled face, and it made me dare to think perhaps this was no accident. Perchance she was compelled to steer her beige battering ram into the house that Beef built, driven not by force of this earth, but of an earth below, an earth that mirrors ours in almost every way, except the reflections are so much darker that many miles down. Some know the reflected realm to be the netherworld. Others know it as the abyss. I know it as this shadow zone. A world where the blackness of our sin stares back at us and merely laughs. Ha 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 ha. A world where God's law governs no man. A world where there is no literal or figurative Mr. Belvedere given any authority to teach us right from wrong. A world where we are loosed and given leathery wings charred like brisket to soar high above the judgment of the well-pressed, dry-clean, shift-managing elite. A world where I am elevated to my true pagan animal form and I take flight, known only as the winged demon, dead Dreadmore. And I fly high above the puritanical regime, anointed by the oil of our beast lord, singing, I'm the king of the castle, and you're the dirty rascal. Crash into me, crash into me. I don't know. Arby's is pretty cool.
The fire department tells me that they didn't treat the woman driving the car here on scene or take her to the hospital, that somebody else drove her home. The Royal Oak Police Department tells me they're still investigating, so they can't comment on whether or not they're issuing her a ticket. And of course, as you can see, this Arby's right here in Woodward closed for the rest of the night. We're live in Royal Oak. Julie Bonovich, 7 Action.
So, that guy is a comedian, and his claim to fame is he takes local news stories and then edits himself in being ridiculous. Not the figurative Mr. Belvedere. Everyone listening to this is probably too young to remember Mr. Belvedere. However, maybe that brought you a chuckle. I've seen it many times over the years. I love it. It's a good example of online video and good example of being funny. Again, not high cost, but hilarious. And so, no, that was not real. And he has a whole string of those on the internet. Blogs, which, by the way, is a truncated version of weblog. Online journals where people and companies post their thoughts and other content. You can post all kinds of stuff there, really. Your reviews of albums, music, whatever you want. I have a couple. Some of you may also have a couple. And then a social media definition. Independent commercial online communities where people congregate, socialize, and exchange views and information. They do a lot more than that, but that's a funny definition, but you should know